So we have some new public polling data, which includes bad news for both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, albeit in different ways. So according to a poll taken by the Wall Street Journal, NBC News, and Marist, Donald Trump is actually catching up with Hillary Clinton and is tied and beating her in some battleground states. So in Ohio, Clinton is at 39%, and Trump is also at 39%. Ohio is a must-win state for Republicans, so the fact that he tied with her, it's very telling. Now in Iowa, Clinton is at 42% to Trump's 39%. In Pennsylvania, Clinton is up by 9 points in one poll, but in another poll, Trump's actually up by 2 points, according to Quinnipiac. Now, in Florida, Trump is also up by 3 points, according to Quinnipiac, which means that he had an 11-point surge in Florida. So that is huge right there. Now in Wisconsin, Hillary is up by 4 points according to a Marquette University poll, and nationally speaking, Clinton holds a 3-point lead according to McClatchy and Marist. Now currently, when you look at Real Clear Politics averages, she has a 3.1% advantage when it comes to aggregate polling. So clearly, she had a dip in the polls. Now the question is, why is Donald Trump catching up to her again? Well, it's very obvious. I mean, with the FBI scandal coming to, an end, even though James Comey didn't recommend an indictment of her, which would have been just completely damaging to her campaign, it still damaged her pretty bad because he basically proved that she's been lying to us. She said that she never sent or received classified information, and James Comey said, no, in fact, there were over 100 pieces in her emails that were classified. Hillary Clinton's campaign is actually pushing back against James Comey's claim that they were extremely careless. Just be happy that you weren't indicted. I mean, are you kidding me? Nobody believes you at this point, so that's why she's taking a dip in the polls. Now, here's where it gets bad for Donald Trump. Well, his support among African Americans is basically non-existent in Ohio and Pennsylvania. So Hillary Clinton is outpolling Donald Trump among black voters by an 88-point margin in Ohio and a 91-point margin in Pennsylvania. I mean, this is not surprising at all because Donald Trump, when you retweet white supremacists, maybe you won't get many minority voters to come over to your camp. I mean, that's just me, but I could be crazy. Now, it gets bad for Hillary Clinton again. So according to a Yik Yak survey of 2,500 millennials, 48% of millennial Bernie Sanders supporters would consider supporting a third-party candidate. Again, I've said it once, I'll say it again. I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. Many millennials are not excited about Hillary Clinton and will be supporting Jill Stein or Gary Johnson instead. Now, when you look at that, 39% of Bernie Sanders' younger supporters will be supporting her, but 13% will actually be voting for Donald Trump, who is the antithesis of Bernie Sanders, but they see him as anti-establishment, so they're opting to support him over Hillary. And, this is not good news for her. We told you that Bernie Sanders supporters, especially young voters, wouldn't fall in line, and you didn't listen. So this isn't too surprising, honestly. Now, finally, bad news for both Clinton and Trump. According to a poll conducted by Associated Press GFK, it really highlights the sentiment of the American people, which I agree with. So we're all terrified of Clinton and Trump. 81% of Americans say they feel afraid following the elections of both Clinton or Trump. And 3/4 say they're voting against the candidate they dislike rather than the candidate they agree with. And 81% of Trump supporters and 3/4 of Clinton supporters back their candidate because they feel the alternate is worse. So in other words, everyone is voting for what they think is the lesser of two evils. That's just sad. That tells you that our electoral system, our two-party system, has failed us. If you're not excited to go out and vote for someone and you're just voting for someone because you think the other person is dangerous, that's just a failure of our democracy, of our system. Now, 57% view Clinton unfavorably and only 37% view her favorably, so she has a negative favorability. Meanwhile, 63% view Trump negatively and only 31% view him favorably. And get this, Clinton's own supporters consider her only slightly or not at all honest, and only 1/4 of Americans think Clinton is at least somewhat honest. This election is a joke. I mean, if you're looking at the mainstream parties and their presumptive nominees, then it's no wonder why people are turning to Jill Stein and Gary Johnson in record numbers, because We don't want to vote for the lesser of two evils. So these polls, you know, it just shows what the American people feel right now. We don't like Hillary Clinton. We don't like Donald Trump. They're both historically disliked for a reason. They're both corrupt. They're both liars. These are not people who should be leading the country, yet either one of them will be the president. How sad is that? Shameful.